Mads Mikkelsen, you star in Another Round as a teacher who tries to get his life back on track by raising his blood alcohol level. What did you initially think about this character and this story when you read this script for the first time?
Well, actually, I heard about this story 8 years ago when it was only a pitch. And Thomas came up to me and he talked about this philosopher who had the theory that we were born with too little alcohol in the blood. If we wanted to achieve things. And the theory was fun and interesting, but it was on a pitch level. Then I saw the script and I just loved it. It was just, yes, it was about that. That was the kickstarter to the story, but the story was much more about embracing life and about four characters who's kind of standing, as you said, on the platform, looking at the train who's just leaving them.
And it can be very difficult to play. It seems to play a character who's intoxicated. A lot of times when actors play it, it can be very exaggerated, but here you're playing very specific levels of intoxication as the film goes along. And I talked to Thomas Vinterberg a couple of days ago, and he mentioned taking all the actors to sort of a booze boot camp to sort of prepare. What was that process like, and how did that help, in terms of informing your performance?
Yeah, in one way, it was kind of childish because between the four of us actors and Thomas, we have enough experience to know how it is to be drunk. But we wanted to just double check what it means after 2 glasses of wine, 3, 4, 5, and hit the exact levels. And whilst we were doing it and we were in the midst of it, it was a little, it's not a big difference. It's pretty much, it's cozy, it's fine. But when we watched the video the day after, we could see big differences between 2 glasses and 4 glasses. And that was very inspiring. Gestures, hands are getting looser. If you have a lisp, it will come out all of a sudden. And so that just gave us some tools to dial up and down. If we wanted a little more, a little less, we had an idea where we were supposed to go. For the extreme drunken scenes, though, we didn't want to go there because you can't even remember anything if you do that. We just watched a lot of YouTube videos of apparently Russian people like to film themselves when they're really hammered.
And working with Thomas Vinterberg, you worked with him before on The Hunt. What was it like working with him on this very different kind of story that has these elements of humor, but also sadness to it that blend?
Yeah, I mean, we became friends after the last film, and so we've been that for 7, 8 years before we did our second film together, and it wasn't that different. We had a great time the first time. We trusted each other on The Hunt, but even more so here. This is like a turf or a territory we haven't been in, and sometimes it's just nice to have people you trust to to take that extra step, go that extra mile. And dare doing things that you might be ridiculously bad, but you dare go there because the people who are laughing at you are not laughing at you, they're laughing with you. So we can retract and we do it again. And it made it a little simpler. We didn't have to be polite. We can just say our opinion right in each other's face and we can move on really fast.
And the relationship between the 4 friends is also so important to the film.
Right.
What was it like developing that rapport between them that felt very like you could feel the years between them?
Yeah, it kind of like the same sensation as for me being friends with Thomas for 7 years. The guy who plays my best friend in the film, Thomas Bo Larsen, has known Thomas since the beginning of their careers, like 30 years ago. And I've known him for many, many years as well. And the other 2 guys I knew as well. I've worked with them all. And so that was also like a cushion. There is a risk when you know each other too well that you just pull out that drawer and you repeat yourself in a boring manner. But there can also be a benefit if you push each other a little further than you would have done with people that you didn't trust as much. And I think that's what we aim for, and I think we succeeded in that, pushing each other a little.
And another important relationship for your character in the film is with his students. And when the experiment begins, we really see him come alive in a way with that from an earlier scene we saw that he kind of lost his lust for teaching. Right. What was it like creating that relationship and becoming that kind of exciting teacher at that moment in that scene?
It was great because, I mean, obviously they're young kids. They're 18, 19 years old, maybe 17. And they know who I am as an actor, as a person, a private person. And the first scenes were just, as you said, extremely boring. I was the most boring person on planet Earth, right? And obviously they're acting, but they were also, I think they were a little disappointed with me. It's like, what's he doing down there? Sitting mumbling, I have no idea what he's doing. So it was nice finally to get that relief and come in and, you know, take the room a little more. But they were just great. It's just great they were fantastic casted. I don't think a lot of them were actors. They were just kids who were really good at reacting to reality of what happened. So I had a great time with these guys. They were, and then you throw them a line, or they'd say a couple lines, and they were just so natural, or all of them. It's like something we can all envy.
And as an actor, was it harder to portray the kind of the dull Martin or the really excited Martin, the really engaged Martin?
No, I mean, I recognize both sides. No, the more loose version of him was a little more tricky, obviously, because we wanted to find the exact level, so we had something to build on. We didn't want to go completely crazy. We wanted to build it up like a staircase, right? So to find those exact balances took a few more takes than it would have been in a different kind of scenes. We tried kind of a few different levels out for all the scenes. I think we have some versions in there where it's obvious that he's drunk, and we just dialed it back a little, because they might have a hunch, but they also like what they see. And that's what we wanted to aim for, right? We don't want it to go across that line.
And the relationship between Martin and his wife, Annika, is also such an important part of, you know, the way the story develops and what starts going well and then starts going very not well eventually. And we, you know, really builds up to this argument scene where we really feel all these years of tension building up. What was it, you know, like shooting that scene and developing that relationship on screen?
But all the scenes with Maria Bonnedal were just fantastic, because she is an amazing actress. It's a very, very difficult thing to come into a film that is kind of a hard-knitted family of these four guys doing an experiment, and she's kind of serving the film to see the aspect of his family life, obviously, and she has very few scenes to deal with. But she's such a good actress. She just finds the temperature in the room right away. And it becomes a given that we've been together for 20 years. I've known her before as well. As you can tell, Denmark is a small place. I've known her for many years. Always been very, very fascinated with her work. I just love to be able to do some scenes that was much more interesting and intimate than the things I've done with her before. No, she was a gift. It's very difficult to come in and just put your fingerprint on a film with that few scenes.
And near the end of the film, or at the very end of the film, actually, there's this incredible catharsis of Martin dancing. You know, you have a background in dance, but you've spoken before about being a little bit reluctant to do the dancing on screen for the film. What made you kind of reluctant to do that, and what kind of convinced you?
Well, being reluctant was merely based on that this is a realistic film. And to pull something like that off is very difficult. I had a fear that it would come across as pretentious. So I kind of imagined that it was a drunken man's fantasy, something that was lifted, so a little more magical. And Thomas was very adamant in saying, "Yeah, I like what you're saying, but I don't agree. This is that he's just getting up and he starts dancing." And so I just gave in because I trusted Thomas, of course. And he was right and I was wrong completely. It is a beautiful ending of the scene. We wanted the man to be in a state of wanting to fly and wanting to fall at the same time. And I think that's illustrated really well with the dance sequence.
And you know, there's so much, like as you mentioned, there's so much emotion, you know, going on in the character that's expressed in that. Was it heavily choreographed, or was it a lot improvised, or what was the preparation?
We had the steps. We had a base of the steps. A young girl called Olivia who helped us out, and I added a can of beer, I believe, to the moves, and some of the moves were a little too young for me. And she smiled and said, "Okay, let's go back into the '80s. I'll find something for you," you know. And but she was just great. So that was a base of that, and then we improvised a little when we saw there was a lot of big vans and there was a bench and it was cobblestones. So we had to figure out how to deal with that. Uh, but we also wanted to be an internal journey, more so than being an aesthetic dance. So he's a guy who's just lost someone he loved, and he's just regained someone that he loved within the last hour, and we wanted that to be reflected in the dance. So I think it becomes a more internal journey than it becomes a dance, and I think that's why we could pull it off.
And the film has gotten a fair amount of acclaim, and you know, it won, swept the European Film Awards
Yes, we did.
a couple months ago. You won Best Actor. It was a virtual event because, of course, the world we're in right now. What was that experience like, and seeing that recognition in particular for this film?
I think it was a little unheard of because, in the sense that you know, some films will some years do really well, but I don't think that any film has done this before. I might be wrong, but it was great. It was fantastic. It's on a personal level for all filmmakers, whether you're a director or you're the editor, whatever you do, or an actor, you like to be acclaimed, obviously. But for this film, there was just a bigger importance, obviously, because of Thomas's daughter who passed away within a week of shooting. So in many ways, it's the tiniest little light in the end of the tunnel for Thomas and for all of us who've been part of this project, because there was only one reason why we did the film, and that was for her. And that other people give it a nod up and embrace it is just, we can't ask for anything else.
And the film is also on the short list for the Academy Award for Best International Feature. You've had the good fortune of being in a few nominees from Denmark, After the Wedding, The Hunt, Royal Affair. Are you kind of like Denmark's good luck charm at this point?
Well, I haven't been so far. We've been nominated, but we never won. So let this be the fourth charm. That would be great. I mean, I wish and hope so much for Thomas and his family that it will be nominated, and it can also take the last step up that ladder and bring that statue home. That would be fantastic. If not, it has been a fantastic journey. There's so many good films out there, so you can't predict anything. But so far, we've been blessed with a lot of people and a lot of love.
And what do you hope that audiences will take away from Martin's story and his, you know, him and his friends and their experience, other than maybe a breathalyzer, which might be a good practical thing to have just in general?
Well, I know for a fact that people take a lot of different things away from it. I mean, there's a whole generation of young people who've been watching this film back home who obviously see themselves in there. They recognize themselves. It's exactly how they feel when they're graduating, and we are the teachers they've been laughing about, and some of them might love some of us. So they have one feeling. Then you have the middle-aged group that will also recognize themselves as like, yeah, the train has stopped, or the train is leaving, and you're standing on the platform and you didn't catch it, right? And you're not super happy with your past, and a little jealous of the future, and you just forgot to embrace the present. Then you'll see an older generation. You might even see people from AA who will sit and nod and recognize themselves. So people take different things away, but I think they all take away, it's a tribute to life. It's a tribute to living your life now. There is no other chance. You know, regain your force, reinvent your family life, reinvent your job. Come on, don't wait for something to happen that's magical. it's right now it's happening.
Congratulations on the film and the recognition it's been receiving. Knock on wood that it receives some more in the coming weeks and months. And thank you so much for talking to me today.
Well, thank you for talking to me. Thanks a lot.